Oh snap! Oh snap! Look who has awakened from the dead. What's going on YouTube, man? It has been an extremely hot, hot minute, man. My YouTube inbox again would blow up. People would comment on past videos. Out of my friends, message me, text me like, "Hey, when are you gonna do another video?" It has been very, very busy in the house of the Bada. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the very, very surprising, undefeated, tastes good when it comes out of your mouth like that, undefeated 3-0. Now, let's first of all get it out of the way. I think probably 99.9% of Falcons fans would agree that we would not be at 3-0. I mean, let's just, all right, at the beginning of the season, the 3 tough games, the 3 NFC East games right out of the gate, that's those are pretty tough. I mean, Eagles, I was expecting a win. The Giants, we haven't had much history winning at MetLife Stadium in like the past 3 years. I think the last couple times we played there, we played in the wild card game and we got shattered 24-2. And then I think we played there last year or the year before that, and we just haven't won there. So I was booking that as a loss. And then another preseason expectation, Des Bryant and Tony Romo. That really helped us out when both of them were out and we had to face Brandon Weedham. But this team, there's something about this team that it's safe to say that in the first 3 games, even in the first game, I thought it was Dan Quinn's head coaching debut. He had a lot on his shoulders, big pressure. He came out with the win. The first half looked phenomenal. The second half, I don't know what happened. The Eagles woke up. That team, that game was kind of hard to tell where the Falcons were at. It was hard to tell whether the Eagles had finally woken up or the Falcons just kind of took their foot off the gas pedal. It's the first game of the season. You can't really put any expectations on it. I'm just happy that we got the win. Our defense looked really good. Matt Ryan in that game, 2 picks. Wasn't really happy with that. He looked a little shaky. I think that game, I didn't really have any expectation. That was kind of just like the shaking off the rust sort of thing. So I'm not going to really dive into that. But the next 2 games shows me how this team, the talent was there. The talent was there. Honestly, it was the head coaching. It was clearly the problem of Mike Smith not making any adjustments. This guy, Dan Quinn, I don't know what he does. If it's the Space Jam water halftime bullshit that they do, they drink the magic water and they come out fucking lights out. But this is what that team does in the second half. The adjustments that they make on both sides of the ball is outstanding. Take it in the Cowboys game. Cowboys kept pounding the ball in the first half. What Randall had, I think, something, he had, I think, 86 yards in the first quarter, rushing the ball, and a touchdown. Like, the fuck? But this team in the second half loaded the box, stuffed the run. They knew their game plan for Brandon Weedham was just run the ball and run the ball and run the ball. And when they started stuffing that box and making Brandon Weedham throw, that resulted in incompletions, that resulted in punts. The team was able to drive down the field. The defense wasn't getting warped out every fucking drive. They were actually stopping people on thirds and threes, thirds and fives. It wasn't like what it was last year, where it would be 3rd and fucking 82 and somehow the team would get the first down. None of that shit happens because this team makes adjustments. This is not, thank God we're out of that Mike Smith era, all right? Because this is a new team. Honestly, this defense is looking really good. Granted, the stats can be a little misleading. The pass, we're not really that great. The rush, we're pretty good at, except for Julius Randle in that one game. They put pressure on the quarterback, which is what we've been missing for fucking 8 years. It seems like we have not had a pass rush, 0. But this team makes adjustments. That's what I love. That's what we needed. That's what this team needed to do. Like, regardless of whatever happened, last year, we would play a great first half and then just shit the bed in the second half. No adjustments, bad coaching decisions. This guy is the night and day of Mike Smith. Like, just absolute brings a new edge. This team is playing with so much energy because they realize, hey, this head coach is pretty good, and hey, our defense is actually worth a damn. And the offense, woo. I mean, seriously, this is how an offense should operate. Devonta Freeman looked like a fucking magician out there. He the best rusher we have had, honestly, since, I know this is a bad comparison, but 2000 and, what was it? The first year my Turner came onto the field and rushed for 220 yards. When we signed Turner, I forget what year it was. My head is not in the right state of mind right now. I have so much schoolwork. It's ridiculous. Anyway, we haven't had a solid rushing game for fucking ever. All right, last year was non-existent. We had to rely on Matt Ryan to constantly throw the ball 50 to 60 times. This year, the balance, the ball is always going to Julio Jones. That guy, seriously, that's what we needed to do. This is what we need to do. Get the ball to number 11. He's number 1 in the league with 500 and something yards. 4 behind Antonio Brown. 4 in front of Antonio Brown, sorry. That's what you do. You just throw we're incorporating the deep ball a lot more because we're using the running game to open up the play action pass. We're actually using the passing game to open up the run. This is what this team does. Like, throw the ball to number 11. The defense spreads out, and then you run the ball up the middle with Devonta Freeman. Our pass blocking is phenomenal. Our offensive line can actually stop water. Like this, I'm really, really, really excited about this team. Like, I haven't been this excited in a while. Maybe like 3 years ago when the Falcons were 13-3, but that was kind of a false hope. When they got blitzkrieged by Green Bay. They didn't even punt the ball that game. But honestly, looking at our schedule, the first 3 games were very tough. In terms of preseason expectations. But now that we're a little bit into the season, honestly, up to our bye week, which is week 9, I think. Hold on a second. Which is week 9. Look who else we got. We got the Texans next week with Ryan Mallett. Meh. Their defense J.J. Watt might stuff the run, but he ain't going to stop number 11. I don't think anyone's going to stop number 11 at this point, honestly. Redskins, Kirk Cousins, and that defense, meh. I don't think anything's going to happen in that game. The Saints, their team's done. Titans, Super Mario can't handle that shit. Buccaneers, nothing. 49ers, I'm only thinking that might be a tough game because we have to fly out all the way into the West. And I just hate West Coast trips. But can Colin Kaepernick, Carlos Hyde might present a problem with that team, with their rush defense. But honestly, it's kind of tough to tell at this point. We're only 3 games this season. This is just preseason expectations. But this team is playing with a lot more fire. I know people are upset that I'm not getting upset. I'm not angry because they're doing everything what this team needs to be doing. They're not making dumb decisions. They're throwing the ball well. They operate. I'm I don't think I've seen. They do a lot of wide receiver screens, which, I'm not really. I mean, it works well, but sometimes it's really easy to get a holding penalty, and that happened a lot in the first game with Philadelphia. Leonard Hankerson, I guess he might have not been accustomed to that just yet, but he's been on fire. I love, love, love the maturity of Roddy White. You know, he's got what, 3 catches in 3 games. Guy doesn't give a shit. He's finally grown up. He says, "Listen, I'm just happy where this team is at," and that's great because pretty soon defenses are going to start saying, "All right, we got to shut down number 11." And this is going to open up holes for Leonard Hankerson and holes for Roddy White, or routes for Roddy White and Hankerson. And then pretty soon we'll get Devin Hester back. And then we can use Devontae Freeman. Like, so many weapons. The defense seems to fight. I mean, they rush. The only problem that I've had so far in a couple of games is that our tackling has been pretty bleh. I remember in the first couple of games, the tackling was just missed tackles, would-be tacklers, just meh. But again, you know, it's the second half adjustments, which leads to better tackling. This team is just, I'm pretty stoked. I'm very, very, very stoked. And honestly, it looks like we're not going to face another good team up until the Colts, and that's after the bye week, which is good. But again, that's way late into the season. We have a very easy schedule, actually. I mean, I think we probably had one of the easier schedules. Panthers, that's the only thing, is that the last 3 games, 2 of them we play against the Panthers, and they're both 3-0, and they're 3-0 as well. So this should be a really tight and a really tight division. But it wouldn't shock me if this team could easily win the NFC South. Easily. Where we go after that, it's tough to tell. Again, we're only 3 games in the season, but from what I'm seeing so far, the fact that we're throwing the deep ball to Julio, the fact that we actually have a running game, the fact that our defense is playing really well and we're forcing turnovers, that was something we did not do at all last season. Giving our defense a break. You know, our offense is driving down the field methodically. We're converting on 3rd downs. We're stopping the 3rd downs. I mean, seriously, this is a good team. I'm happy. Like shit. I'm fucking excited. This is great. But Texans coming into town. I'm thinking that might be an easy victory. We're blowing team. I mean, we put a stomping on the Cowboys. I think if we can put a stomping on the Cowboys defense, which is actually really good, because their defensive line was actually pretty solid, and we were able to contain that pass rush, I think the Texans shouldn't be a problem.